on which excursions you're interested in going on, but the excursions are available no matter whether you're staying with a host family or staying in a hotel or a dormitory. You can still have the opportunity to take part in trips to different places around the area. So every student gets a chance to travel and see some different things.
And it's important also to point out if some students want to stay at a homestay and some want to stay in a dormitory, that can be accommodated for. Not everyone has to stay in the same place. And saying that, we also have transportation from all the different locations if they'd be at a homestay or in the dormitories. So transportation would be a problem.
So we talk a lot about visiting to the volcano and doing different, outside activity, and then how do you make sure our students are safe and sound?
For safety. One of the things that we also have is a partnership with the Sonora Medical Center, and we have the travel insurance and then any special accommodations that are needed, and again, as mentioned, transportation. In terms of security and issues like that, we haven't really had any problems.
How long have you been running this program?
For about, I want to say it was founded in 1991.
Have you all been with the company for a long time, or are you new to this?
I've been here for a year.
I've been here for about 3 years.
I've been here for 2 years.
Okay.
I also wanted to point out about the safety that for all the excursions, there will always be a local guide with the students. They won't be going off on their own in the middle of the night. Sort of thing.
Okay, so the local guide, is that person bilingual? Will that person
Yes.
Okay.
Fluent in English and in Spanish.
Because not all of our students are taking Spanish. We do have some students that have elected to take Chinese or French, and we think that's really important for our cohort of students because they're giving back to one another. We think that this is a great group of students who really can learn from one another, and giving them an experience like this is a wonderful opportunity for them to do individual projects and to be able to share what they've learned with one another. Which brings me to my next question, which is it possible to incorporate the students' individual interests into projects while they're there? We're looking for them to begin projects, researching projects while they're on site, and when they return, continuing those projects and presenting them. So is that something we can accommodate?
Definitely, we're very flexible on that, and we really like small groups. So if two or three students want to do an independent project at the wetlands, we set them up with one of our local tour guides to bring them there, and they can do their independent project there, and the local tour guide can spend individual time with the students and give them the individual attention that they need.
Now, is it easier for you if we identify which projects they may be interested in, just even if it's a topic ahead of time, so that when they come, these things are all planned out? Or is this something we can accommodate once the students are there? If a student is, for instance, very interested in the history of certain rooms, is there an opportunity for you to link them up with perhaps a college professor at a local university to learn more about that?
Yes. The thing is, one of the preparations that we do is try to get as much information as we can. But knowing that things change and things of that nature may shift, they may want to do, study the missions and the history of the missions that Father Kano had, but then all of a sudden the interest of the wetlands come, or something more of the ecological. And so working with that, but I think as long as we have more of a general idea in the beginning, we can prepare for that and also look at a lot of the different options. And it's one of the things for us is meeting the individual needs, their interests, and very flexible with that.
That's great. I think we're also concerned about budget.
Yeah.
If you could talk about what the price per student is, that would be wonderful.
The price range for our 2-day, or for our 2-night, 3-day trips is usually about $400 to $800, depending on your accommodations and the excursions that you choose to go on. So
Is that
for
an
about a week
average
program,
length
it
of
would be
time? A
about-
5-day program is an average length of time for your students?
Yeah, it depends on your group. We've accommodated different groups of people for different lengths of time.
Because we run a gamut from high school students to lifelong learners, so everyone has different needs. Some individuals may want to go on a free trip. Bless you.
Thank you.
And the longest we've had is roughly about a 2-week duration for it.
That's the
And
longest.
so, and so it really depends on, the price bracketing. If you were looking at, about a week, I think we got guesstimate on that about $800 to $1,600 $100. But depending on the, different excursions and what have you that they want to participate in.
Okay.
So individual project can cost differently?
Yes. I mean, we have, one of the things that we had are different intensity levels too for activity. So if it was a level 1, that would be more of a tour guided, like within a vehicle. Where a level 3 would be, going on more difficult hikes on a volcano. And so they can determine, and that's also an aspect of safety too, is determining the levels that they can take on, and then we can gauge with that. But those aspects too come into different costs, and also the housing. I mean, we've had individuals who want to or feel more comfortable staying in a resort, and so theirs is more on the higher end, while on a lower cost, hostel or even homestays are more on the lower end. And so we fit any budget, and so if things like scholarships are needed of that nature, we can work that out, and they'd have to apply for that on individually.
How much experience do you have working with groups that are very academic focused? I mean, my concern is I really would not want my students staying in a resort. I would want my students having more of a unique experience. I want them to learn from community members. I want them to have a lot of breadth. We have a very rigorous curriculum that we're working with, and I'm just concerned about how hiking on a volcano or being on a tour bus is going to facilitate their learning.
Well, most of the people that take part in our excursions do choose to stay with the host family because it is more academically focused. And we have hosted schools before, like the high school that came from California last year. They did stay with host families, and we organized, classes and academic experiences for them. So we can accommodate you
Okay.
academically.
How do you organize the homestay?
We have contacts within the community, people that have hosted homestays before. So they're
So
willing
any
to
transition
participate.
between, jump into that homestay becomes, even they have experienced abroad culture, or they might have stayed in some,
Right, and so we
Yes,
do the, once they get all registered and all of that information, we send them packets, just more of kind of fact sheets and information just about the culture and the region that they're visiting. And then once they get on site, we do an orientation with them just to get them, to know more about the people, the culture, customs, and things of that sort. And I think if you're looking at more the learning aspect, this kind of a trip of just going there and learning from the people, even, doing one-on-ones with Sonora High School students that are there is a whole experiential learning in itself that they can really come away with it of, coming out of the textbooks and being within the people who are there and having a cultural exchange.
Could you give us an idea of a typical day for what we're sort of describing?
Sure, so I'll give you an example of the students that we just had from LA that came to do a service project. The first half of the day, they had a peer mentoring program where we had them link up with another student in the high school, and they kind of shadowed them around for the first couple hours of the morning to get an idea of what the school system was like in Sonora, and get an idea of the Mexican culture. And then we have an option for a language class an hour before lunch, and then they did their service program in the afternoon.
And this is just something for you guys to keep. This is a bookmark. It has our website, and it has an email address where you can contact us if you think of any more questions.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. It's been very insightful.
Thank you.